And I signed my name in blood. And actually, I used a needle and I drew blood from my left thumb, because that's what it said on the Order of Nine Angles website. And I signed my name in blood, which I didn't get enough blood out, and I did the best that I could. And I keep telling people it's what's in your heart and your intention. You don't have to have every little aspect of your ritual go perfect for you to be dedicated. And I put the paper in the fire of a black candle that I had. Back then, you could even get black candles at Target. Of course, Christians, they're trying to stop us any way they possibly can. And they try to see to it that black candles aren't available. And I keep telling people it's what's in your heart. Use a blue candle if you can. Use a red candle. You know, use even green is the color of Astaroth. You know, as long as you have a candle there and or some kind of fire, it's what's in your heart that's most important. Even if teenagers, if you're really, really in danger, do your dedication on the astral. Do it in your astral temple. Nothing can stop you. You know, maybe they can physically stop you, but your mind is free. Anyway, demons, I started seeing demons shortly after that. And the demons that appeared to me, Byleth was one, and Fracas was another one. They look so different because they look like their clothes were just thousands of years old, the style and stuff. I mean, it wasn't like anything I had seen ever in my lifetime, or even on TV. I mean, they're just like ancient. And they appeared to me, and they're giving me advice. And I had contacts with demons. And in May, the following year, I remember I was at work one morning, and it was real quiet. I used to work in an athletic club. And it was Sunday morning, and there's nobody around. And I was about the only person in there. It was peaceful. And I felt Satan's love so strongly. And I was working on some stuff for him, printing some stuff out for him. So they had a printer there. And he said to me, "Come and see me." And I was expecting to see a large black image with red eyes and horns that would send a chill down your spine. This is what I had been programmed to believe. And I saw him. And I was shocked because he was tall. He had real broad shoulders, light blonde hair, beautiful, piercing blue eyes. And they're shaped a bit differently than our human. And he had a long white robe down to the floor. And I mean, this just blew me away because I was so strongly expecting to see something else. I had always thought, oh, you know, the devil with the horns and this type of thing. And I've learned a lot of things on my own, and I've also learned over the years from the experiences of others. And we all help each other out in learning the truth. And that's why I have the e-groups. But Satanism has been so suppressed, and they're fighting every way they can. The enemy is to keep Satanism suppressed so that they can control it. Millions of people were murdered, mass murdered and tortured to death. Even children as young as 2 years old were burnt in what they call witch houses during the Inquisition. Because those in power know that a spiritually strong father or mother that has their soul open to any certain extent is going to pass that down on the child. And that child's going to have more of a powerful soul. They've killed even babies. The Inquisition, the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, all the Christian churches, like I mentioned before, Martin Luther and his Reformation only caused a split. It's still the same old garbage, only it's like in a different package, and it's still the same. The names and the faces change, but it's still the same thing. And it's a removal of spiritual knowledge. And it's a corruption. And they're the worst criminals on the face of this earth because they have control over everything, including the governments. Unbeknownst to many, they're all operating under the table. And by teaching people to be slaves and indoctrinating the human beings to take all kinds of abuse and all this twisted, corrupted focus of love, 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 which is so corrupted and twisted and sick, it isn't even funny, anti-life, they're creating slaves, a slave mentality. And not only this bleeds over into generations to where they can operate a world slave state. And the original Freemasons, okay, had a totally different idea of a new world order than this garbage that the Christian church is pushing. Freemasons such as George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, I believe, different, nearly all of the founding fathers of the United States of America were Freemasons. You can even see images, I think, on the back of the $2 bill where George Washington's wearing the royal apron, and that has to go back to Egypt, the royal apron. And these men were honorable, and they wanted a new Atlantis. And the original United States Constitution of freedom is a satanic government, to where you're free, and the separation of church and state. But the Christians have corrupted this, and they've tried every way they can again to relieve you of your freedom. And that new world order that they're talking about is what the Christian church is all about, to where everybody's enslaved, everybody's barcoded, everybody's living under this slave state where you're operated, where it's operated on and type of thing, your mind, and you can't even think. That's their new world order. But the original satanic new world order was the knowledge of Atlantis and ancient Egypt and these ancient truths, to where we were going to be able to discover these freely and openly without persecution. Because the people came here from Europe because of religious persecution, but yet they brought the church with them, the Salem witch trials and all their garbage. Christianity infests, like a cancerous virus, and it destroys. It eats away the spirit of humanity. But there's two new world orders. And as for the Freemasons, they're originally Luciferian, but they've been infiltrated like everything else, which is quite obvious. Satan himself told me that. And since I saw Father Satan, and I've been working so hard for him over these years, I've gotten to be close with him. But I have extreme respect for him, and I don't go calling on him for anything trivial. And he's told me a lot of things that have come to pass. And I work directly with him. And a lot of the writings I have on my website, I've been learning as I've been going along. And in order for telepathy to really work, you have to have something in your mind to where it can be connected with, to where they can relate, where the gods can relate to us. Just like trying to explain rocket science to somebody that doesn't know anything about physics, you're not going to get very far. You have to study. And when you reach a certain point in your studies, then you can advance, because demons can show you different things and show you a different aspect of what you're studying, or lead you even on to different things. Father Satan told me about copper a long time ago, and it didn't mean anything to me. I just looked at these little green pills in a vitamin jar, and I thought that was copper. I didn't realize it had to do with the heart chakra, and it's the all-important element in the circulation, the chi in the body, the kundalini, the life force. And that's why women on their menstrual periods are most powerful with sex magic, is because the copper, the natural copper in the body, is higher during that time, and it facilitates the life force and it amplifies it during that time. But I didn't know anything. He said copper to me. I'm like, I thought taking copper. And it didn't do anything. Yeah, I've got a little jar of vitamins. I was trying to take copper. He's told me a lot of things about the war in the Middle East. He told me March 2003, he told me the Americans will win, but they'll wish they hadn't. It's going to open up a can of worms. And oh, it has. And he's told me a lot of other things that have come to pass. And with communicating with Father Satan and his demons, you have to be open. There's times I've had some missed messages that I got off. They weren't really important, but when I had a real strong concept in my mind that I saw something I believed was true, and it wasn't. And then I had an off communication, so to speak, because you have to be open. I mean, if you're really, really set that something's just totally true, they're not going to get through to you. But for the most part, I've been open. I've learned telepathic communication is something you need to work at. You need to be open. Most of my missed messages went out a long time ago. In the first 2 years, I was a Satanist. But once you establish a strong connection and you do enough power meditation, you open your soul. I mean, the messages come in a lot stronger when you're, having conversations back and forth, and then they happen in reality. Things Father Satan has told me about my personal life has happened in reality. But he's a wonderful God, and he's always looked out for me, and he's looked out for a lot of other people too, his dedicated ones. And he's never let me down. And it's important, like I said, that we empower ourselves and we work on ourselves and we learn everything we can. Hail Satan.